Okay. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Wonderful morning. When I landed at 7 a.m., I realized that it's a bit cold, and I was surprised because I live in Delhi and I did not expect Nagpur to be cold. But this is a very warm place, and thank you to the organizers. Absolutely stunning campus and a great event, Zero Mile Samvad. And how many of you know why this is called Zero Mile Samvad? And how many don't know? Okay, we'll do that some other time. But always a pleasure to have Mr. Gurnani, one of the foremost people in an industry that has not only built brand India across the world, but has actually contributed to the growth and prosperity of Bharat. We somehow at times don't realize the significance of this industry, and Mr. Gurnani has been one person who has spent over 40 years, and that very long innings is going to draw to a close very soon. But on the subject today, and I'm going to start with the theme, charting a path to $5 trillion. There's a debate, Mr. Gurnani, between economists, kab hoga, when will we reach, but that's not what we are going to discuss. What do we need to do? And Mr. Vivek Wada drew out the immense possibilities of the future, but what do you think in terms of 1, 2, 3 that we need to do to not just reach 5, but perhaps $10 trillion?
You know, Siddharth, when I look at overall opportunities, while Professor Wadhwa touched a few, he touched education, he touched healthcare, he touched agriculture, he touched manufacturing. And you would think this is end all of all the challenges or of all the opportunities. But to me, a 5 trillion requires pretty much what I call a mindset change. A mindset change of questioning everything. My questioning is, if China +1 or -1 was an opportunity, could we have done better? My questioning is that if 5 trillion or 10 trillion or 30 trillion is an opportunity, have we revamped our education system to make people ready for employment? I mean, you come to a city like Nagpur, you'd be surprised the shortage of hotel rooms in this month. And average room rate, which used to be 10,000, has gone up to 50,000. And it is, you know, obviously Zero Mile Samvad has contributed, but my point is, if we anticipate and build for future, then we are not only questioning, but taking actions. I am optimistic, I am energized. I know that 5 trillion, 10 trillion, 30 trillion will happen because we are ambitious. But I just want to be sure that it's not just the engine being ambitious, the rest of the coaches are also aligned.
Absolutely. I'll request people in the audience to keep their mobile phones on silent. Two important themes that Mr. Gurnani has drawn out. Before I take them up one by one, I think what is very, very significant here, and we've seen that in Nagpur, and because this is the constituency and the home city of Nitin Gadkari ji, in terms of the road infrastructure, among so many other things, this government over the past 10 years has been building for the future, including a new expressway which is coming up very close to where I live. We'll do that in some other session. Two things that you picked up on. Am I right in saying that what you are really saying, Mr. Gurnani, is have the mindset of a developed country as professionals, as entrepreneurs, as businessmen, and don't think in scarcity terms, because many of us, at least not in my generation, but perhaps your generation, came up in the license Raj regime where the government decided aap itna bana sakte hain, aap itna nahi bana sakte hain. So is that mindset change very important to achieve these stretch goals in economic output?
Clearly, yes. Again, I'm saying you can call it questioning or you can call it curiosity. Like I was in a discussion last night over dinner with Professor Maitri, and there are a couple of other people who said probably the world's best campus they've seen. There was a youngster from Hyderabad, a serial entrepreneur, who has studied in Harvard Business School, and he said this campus is better than the Harvard Business School. So guys, take a bow. Yeah. Now, the question that all of us asked to each other was, at Harvard Business School, you get at least 100 companies from different parts of the world which go for their brain spa or a refresh courses. There are at least 100 nationalities in every HBS batch. Why can't I have an aspiration for IIM Nagpur to now become a hub of global education? Why can't I have an aspiration that I will have 100 countries, students fighting with each other to get into IIM Nagpur? And all I'm trying to make a point here is that the moment we set our ambitions high, the moment we display a level of questioning and curiosity, I think we would make the cultural change, and it is imperative that we make that cultural change to get to 30 trillion.
Okay, let's try and visualize this from the prism of something that you've done for all your working life. You've had a storied career in IT, and when I've spoken to IT leaders like you, when I started reporting on IT almost 24, 25 years back, those days people would relate tales of how when they traveled overseas, they would not get enough foreign exchange when they were going overseas and building businesses. Yesterday, I got to meet an IT industry executive, mid-rank executive, and he said he's based out of Belgium and he handles marketing across 60 countries. And I said, why Belgium? He said, because we need to be there in those geographies. So the IT industry has actually done the most when it comes to brand Bharat. How have we evolved? And Vivek Wada pointed out the future to us. What excites you in terms of next steps, next level of growth in IT? And this is important for a lot of students, both in engineering and management streams, where they want to build a career in this sector, Mr. Gurnani.
First is we have to give credit. You spoke about the physical infrastructure. I'm assuming that you also very proud of the digital infrastructure.
I was going to come to that.
So physical infrastructure is work in progress. I think in digital infrastructure, we can be boastful. I mean, whether it is UPI, whether it is Aadhaar, I mean, you can go on and say India today has more to showcase for digital infrastructure. And I want to give credit to government. This digital infrastructure has been created by the government. Private sector has collaborated. A razor pay providing AI on the UPI infrastructure. I think we need to recognize government took the lead and the private sector has collaborated. So my personal view is that this focus has to continue. Number 3 is we will have to still take a few more bold steps. I mean, we were there at the COP28 just a few weeks ago in Dubai. I think on sustainability, we still have work to do. You and I come from Delhi. I thought you will say at 7 a.m. in the morning, I'd looked around and I said, I can breathe.
That is true. Yes, sustainability is a very important point, but let's come to the skilling issue, because the dominant sort of attendance here in the audience is young students. How significant is the skilling challenge and the gap between coursework and what industry actually wants on the ground? And you've been chairing this institution, you've hired literally hundreds of thousands of people. How significant is this an issue, Mr. Gurnani?
You know, Siddharth, again, when I meet youngsters and when I meet the startup nation called India, I get very, very encouraged. For example, somebody a day ago showed me a portal that if you're looking for a full stack developer, if you hire an IIT++ graduate, you have to pay, let us say, $10,000. But the same person, if you hire in Chandrapur in Vidarbha, you can actually get it for $5,000. And my point is, when I look at these startup, I find predictive analytics, I find data being synthesized, and I also take into account is that they are also taking into account the education which can be personalized. Now at IIM Nagpur, thanks to Professor Maitri, he has always brought in technology at the core of any curriculum that we design. He was the first one to introduce courses in blockchain. He has made data sciences compulsory for everybody to make sure that the energy of the entrepreneurs translates into the energy for the faculty also. I mean, I must give credit that we have more than 40 entrepreneurs working from the entrepreneurship cell out here. And, they're doing some leading work in the field of agriculture. So I think an educational institute which is aligned to the future needs of the industry, an educational institute which realizes technology is a game changer, an educational institute which realizes that the future of the tomorrow is not only the students but some of these entrepreneurs. And if some of us, you keep reminding me of my age, so I'll tell you that I'm willing to be called that old fogey, and some of us old fogies remain in touch.
Okay, I'm sure, and we'll probably take two questions because I know we have to end in the next 5 or 6 minutes. Very quickly, Vivek Wadhwa spoke about the Indian talent being available at very affordable rates from an employer's perspective. You made that point. Perhaps some student would like to ask you, sir, हमारी तनख्वाह इतनी ही रहेगी, आप 5 trillion बोल रहे हैं, 10 trillion बोल रहे हैं, 30 trillion बोल रहे हैं, but will the salaries remain the same? Are we just going to be a labor arbitrage market, or is there a future to actually earn global salaries sitting in India?
I mean, the fact is that the global salaries have started coming into a lot of sectors. I mean, many of you cross your heart and say, what did you earn 10 years ago? Cross your heart and say, what did you earn 20 years ago? So the fact is, industry has started paying much higher than what they used to pay. Even at an inflation adjusted, our salary levels have gone up. And the fact is, the economic boom, whether we grow at 6.75 or 7.3, the fact is that we are a growing nation, and as a growing nation, our talent will get rewarded, and that talent, if you start taking any of the purchase parity decisions, we'll live a better life, and Vivek Wadhwa would agree that I live a better life here.
Absolutely. Have you worked 70 hours a week all your career?
I want to challenge you, Siddharth. Why did you take the 5:40 a.m. flight? I want to challenge every corporate athlete. Why does he get up at 4 a.m. in the morning? Because he wants to excel. I'm proud that I work 70 hours because I want to excel, and anybody who wants to excel should know there is no shortcut to hard work.
There is no shortcut to hard work. And even if you want to go to Harvard, the way to get to Harvard is also a lot of hard work. So do you agree with what Mr. Narayan Murthy said? Because I noticed that there was a lot of backlash, especially in younger sort of crowd on social media saying, this is not practical. How can we work 70 hours? We need a life outside work also.
Listen, I responded on the Twitter, and I'm going to repeat it. I did say there has to be a work-life balance, but I said work for 42 hours, rest of the 28 hours, work for your future, work to be relevant. It's the same way a Tiger Woods is still trying to improve his swing, whatever his age be, and a Virat Kohli, despite of all the records, gets up at 4 a.m. and practices.
Absolutely. And we have a sporting icon also in the crowd, and when we get to hear that, we'll realize hard work. Okay, time for just one question, if we can take. Are you asking a question? Okay, we'll wrap up.
Oh, she's showing us a red flag.
Red flag, okay. Okay, is just one question. Does somebody quickly want to ask, or should I wrap up?
I did see Vishwanath Anand.
I think he's...
Okay.
Is there a hand that wants to come up and ask a question? Okay, let's wrap it here, because this is just the start of what is going to be a very intense 2 days of deliberations. But before we end, and this is my personal request to the entire audience, a standing ovation for Mr. Gurnani for the work that he has done for India and Bharat.
See you, brother. See you. See you.
Our restrictive stance of monetary policy is putting